So today I'm going to show you how to do a makeup look using the new Game of Thrones Urban Decay makeup set. I've got the vault here, which includes everything that they did release for this collection. It is limited edition, so it did take me a lot of effort to get my hands on one, but I finally did. It is absolutely amazing. I do love everything that they have in the vault. I am absolutely in love with the eyeshadows as well, and the cute little names that they've got for each colour. So this is a finished look. I guess I did decide to go for a bit of an extreme look just because it was my 20th birthday party, so I did want to go all out. As you can see, I have opted for more of a sort of a fiery look, so I named it Kiss by Fire. And now I'm going to show you how I created this look. So first of all, I started off by filling in my brows, and what I'm using here is the MAC Dip Down. And I'm using a brush by Anastasia. I can't actually remember which one it is, but it is a really good brush. It's very thin, so it's great to sort of fill in a shape if you don't actually have one. So what I'm basically doing is I am overlining and underlining my eyebrows slightly with the product, and I am making sure that I am staying away from the front of my eyebrow as much as possible, just because we don't want that blocky look. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to go in with the LA Pro Girl Creamy Beige Concealer. I'm going to use this product to carve my eyebrows just to give them a little bit more definition, but I am also using this product as a base for my eyeshadow. So I am using a thin flat brush, and I'm using this brush just because it is going to give me the precision and the sharp edges that I am looking to achieve for my eyebrows, but it is also a really good brush for the eyelids as well, and just making sure that there's no creases, so I am patting in the product instead of dragging it. So the first shade that I am using from the palette is Hard Home. I'm going to use this shade as a highlighter for my brow bone. So I'm just going to pack that product right under my brow bone. So the next shade that I'm going in with is Nymeria, and I'm going to use this shade as my transition colour. So I'm going to blend that product right into my eye socket, but I am also blending the product slightly out, and just to make sure it does blend in nicely with the highlighter we've just placed. So next I am going in with the shade Lannister Red, and I'm just using a slightly smaller brush, but it is a blending brush, and I'm just going to pack that product right into the corner of my eye and again into my socket, and I'm going to make sure it does blend in nicely with Nymeria. So in order to get a nice blend, what I am doing is I'm packing the product onto my eye, and then I am using circular motions to blend that out. The last thing you want to do is drag the product left and right without using any circular motions, because that will end up giving you a really mucky look. So I'm just blending in Nymeria again, so I'm just going back in with the transition shade using the larger brush just to make sure everything does blend in smoothly together. I have blended the product out slightly more than I should have, so I'm just going to go back in with a tiny bit of concealer, and I'm just going to sort of blend that out. I'm now going in with the shade Take the Black, and I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of the product just to pack it in into my eye socket, just to give it a little bit more depth. And I am going to blend that out in the corner of my eye as well. So I'm just going in with the shade Lannister Red, and I am going to sort of blend it in with Take the Black, and that's just going to ensure there's no harsh lines. And again, I'm just going to go back in with Nymeria just to make sure we do have a perfect blend. There's no harsh lines, and every time you do pack on a new colour, just remember to go back and pack on the previous colour again. I am doing a semi-cut crease, so I'm just going to go in with the same concealer and the brush that we used to carve out the eyebrows, and I'm just going to create my lid, and half my lid, and I'm just going to blend out the product. So I'm going to be using the shade House Lannister for my lid. I'm just going to use a normal flat brush to pack on the product onto my lid, but I am then going to go back in with the same flat brush that we used to carve out the lid, just to make sure that it is nice and precise, so we don't want it to blend out. And I'm just making sure that I have left some space in the middle of my lid, just because that is where we will be placing the next colour. So next I am going in with the shade Red Keep, and I'm just going to pack that product right in the centre of my lid, and I'm just going to make sure it has been blended out. I'm now going back in with the shade Hard Home, and I'm just going to use a small brush just to pop the product in my inner corner. I'm going to be using the Rimmel Glam Eyes liquid liner, and it's in shade Black Armour. I'm just going to be using that for the eyeliner today. So I'm just going to start off with the wing, so I always prefer to start off with the wing, and then I go in and then I connect the rest of the liner in, and then I just fill out the rest. So now I'm just going to take some concealer and apply that under my eye, and this will act as a base for the eyeshadow. So for the under eye, I am going to apply the eyeshadows in a similar way I did for my eyelids. What I'm going to do is I am going to start off with House Lannister, and then I'm going to go above that with Lannister Red. I am then going to apply my eyeliner, and then I'm going to come back in with Nymeria, so that will be done towards the end. For my waterline, I am going to be using the Maybelline gel liner in black. I'm going to be applying that on my waterline, but I am also taking it out towards the edge as well. And I'm going to blend that in with the Urban Decay Blackout eyeshadow using a fluffy small brush. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm not blending that out too much, because the last thing you want to do is look scary. Now to tie it all together, I am going back in with the shade Nymeria, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm just going to use a brush to blend in the black with the warm tones, and just to make sure it's a nice gradient. But I am going to go back in with Take the Black from the eyeshadow palette, and I'm just going to take a tiny amount. I'm just going to go back in where I feel like there needs to be a bit more black. So I'm just going to apply some mascara onto my lashes. I'm using the Urban Decay Troublemaker mascara. I'm just going to apply that on the top lashes and then the bottom lashes too. I'm going to be applying false lashes, and I've decided to go with Lily Glichi lashes in Miami. I waited about a minute for the glue to get tacky and just to make sure it will stick against my lash line. What I like to do is I grab the lash and I just shove it in where the groove is as much as I can, and then I go back in with my fingers or with a tweezer just to make sure they are fully clamped down. I am going to be wearing coloured contact lenses for this look, so I'm just going to go in with the colour Polar Lights Blue Grey from ttdi.com. You can get 10% off with my code, it's vida.beauty. So now I'm going to be moving on to my face, and I'm going to start off with the foundation. So what I'm using is the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Foundation in the shade NC42. It's got amazing coverage, which I definitely need because I do have acne prone skin, so I've got a lot of scars on my face. It does look slightly lighter when you first put it on your face, but it literally just takes a few seconds just to show the true colour. So with this particular foundation, I do like to use a flat brush when applying the product to my face. It is also quite useful when it comes to the brow because we don't carve out the top edge of the brow with the concealer, so that's something I do like to do with my foundation. So to blend my foundation into my skin, I am using a fluffy brush by Real Techniques. I'm just making sure that I am patting the foundation into my face, and this just ensures that I don't get oily throughout the day. This way I don't really need a primer, but it does also give me sort of like a blurred effect, so it does sort of hide your pores if you do have an open pore problem like myself. I'm just making sure that I am using a pattern technique and not circular motions or dragging the brush across my face, because that's going to give me an oily look, which is the last thing I need for my skin. I'm now going in with Huda Beauty's Overachiever Concealer in shade Sugar Biscuit. It is going to act as a highlighter for my face. So I'm just going to be putting on a small amount of product in the highlighted areas. The reason why I'm only using a small amount of product is because it is a very intense concealer, so it is very high coverage and you don't need a large amount. So I'm just going to be using a brush just to spread that out into the areas that I want it to be in. And then I'm going to go in with a beauty blender or a sponge, and I'm just going to blend that product out. So now that I've highlighted my face, I am going to be setting that with Huda Beauty's Easy Bake Powder in shade Pound Cake. And I'm just going to be using a beauty blender to place the product into the areas where I'm prone to get oily or prone to get any creases. And I'm just going to let that set while I complete the rest of my face. To contour my face, I am going to be using the Motives Sculpt series, and I'm using the darkest shade. So I'm just going to be applying the product in the areas that I want to contour. So I'm going to apply it on my forehead, on my cheeks, and I'm also going to be applying it on my nose as well. The product can also be applied to the jawline, but that's personally something I don't like to do. Now to blend the product out, I am going to be using a stippling brush. So the one I'm using is by Real Techniques. So I'm just going to be blending that in until it looks like a nice sort of gradient finish rather than patchy or mucky. And so you just keep blending until it looks right, and you just got to make sure that you do stay in place so you don't go too high or too low. If you do make any mistakes, you can go back in with some foundation, or you can just use a brush like I am here. I'm just applying that in the middle of my forehead just to blend it in seamlessly. So to blend out my nose contour, I have to use this particular brush. It's just the best tool ever. It really allows for you to sort of get in there and to make sure that there's no sort of harsh lines. I'm not sure what this type of brush is called, but I did purchase this from Primark, so it should still be there. So I'm now going to be applying a mineralized blush. It is called Cheek and Cheerful by MAC. So I'm just going to use another stippling brush, and I'm just going to blend that in just above my contour. I'm now going to go over my cheeks with the Game of Thrones Lip and Cheek Stain by Urban Decay, and just because the blush that I did use by MAC did act more of a bronzer, so this will give me a little bit more colour. I'm now going to be using Aria's Needle Sword brush just to go over the highlighted areas with Hard Home. just to give my brow bone and my inner corner that extra pop. So now that the powder is set, I am going to remove that with a fluffy brush, and I'm just going to go in with a beauty blender just to make sure I've removed any excess product on my face. I'm now going to be going in with the Mother of Dragons highlighter palette. I'm going to start off with the middle shade, which is the shade Viserion. So I'm just going to take a brush and I'm going to apply the highlighter on my cheeks and across my temples. I'm going to use Jon Snow's long claw sword brush, and I'm going to apply the product on my cupid's bow and on my nose as well. I'm going to take the pinky shade Drogon from the Mother of Dragons highlighter palette, and I'm just going to blend that in between my blush and my highlighter. I'm going to line my lips with the KKW lip liner in shade Nude 2. If the pencil is blunt, it's no problem, you can still apply the product across most of the area. You will need to sharpen the pencil and apply the product around the edges of your lips, and that's what's going to give your lips a nice harsh sharp edge rather than a sort of a blended soft look. So I did mention that I did want to go all out for my 20th birthday, so I decided to go in with the shade White Walker from the Vault collection. And because it is a new product, I can use the edge of the lipstick just to go around those edges and just to make sure I've got a nice clean finish. But what I am going to do is I am going to go in with my foundation brush. So I haven't added any more product, so I'm just using leftover product just to go around the edges of my bottom lip just to give it a nice clean edge. So this is a final look. I called this look Kissed by Fire. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. You can also follow me on my Instagram account, which is vida.beauty. Thank you very much for watching.